The flashlight beam moves through black water. It has been moving for hours. The diver holds it ahead of him as he pushes through a passage barely wide enough for his shoulders. The ceiling inches from his mask. The floor invisible beneath the silt, his fins disturb with every kick. He cannot see more than 2 feet in front of him. He does not know exactly how far he has come. He knows only the direction of the rope behind him. The guideline he has been laying, meter by meter, through 9 kilometers of flooded tunnel, and the faint hope that what he is looking for is somewhere ahead. The cave is called Tham Luang. It runs beneath the mountains of northern Thailand, like a secret the earth has been keeping for centuries. On any normal day, tourists walk its first chambers with headlamps and curiosity. On this day, July 2nd, 2018, 9 days after 13 people went inside and did not come out, it is the most dangerous place on earth that anyone is voluntarily entering. The diver is John Valanthan, a British cave diving expert. Beside him, equally blind, equally methodical, is his partner Rick Stanton. They have been at this for days. They have turned back before water levels too high, visibility too low, the risk calculations running the wrong way. They have come back each time, because somewhere in the dark ahead of them, if the information is correct, if the geology works the way they believe it does, there is a chamber above the floodline. And in that chamber, there may still be people alive. 12 boys, a football coach. Trapped since June 23rd, 9 days without contact, without confirmed sighting, without proof of any kind that they were not simply gone. How do you survive 9 days inside a flooded mountain? How do you keep 12 children alive in total darkness, with no food, no dry ground, and no way out? This is the full timeline of the Tham Luang rescue and what happened inside the cave before anyone found them. The Wild Boars are a youth football team from Chiang Rai province in northern Thailand. In June 2018, the team is made up of 12 boys between the ages of 11 and 16. They are ordinary kids, the kind found on youth sports teams everywhere in the world, competitive and playful. Still learning what their bodies can do, still figuring out who they are. Their coach, Ikapal Chanthawang, is 25 years old. He has been coaching the team for several years. The boys call him Coach Ek. Ekapal's background is unusual for a football coach. He entered a Buddhist monastery at the age of 10, following the death of his parents and a younger brother, grief arriving early and all at once. The monastery gave him structure at the moment his life had none. It also gave him something more durable than structure, a relationship with silence, a practiced understanding that the mind, left unmanaged, will generate suffering that the situation itself does not require. He learned to observe his own fear without being governed by it. He learned that the breath, steady, deliberate, returned to again and again, is the one thing a person always has access to, even when everything else is gone. He spent a decade in the monastery before returning to secular life in his early 20s. He became a football coach. He worked with young people. The meditation stayed with him the way habits formed in extremity tend to stay, not as something he performed on difficult days, but as something he simply was. He does not know yet how critical this will become. But in approximately 6 hours, he will be underground in the dark, with 12 children and no way out. And everything the monastery gave him will be the only tool he has that the cave cannot take away. The boys on the team come from different backgrounds. Several are stateless, born to ethnic minority families near the Thai-Myanmar border, without official Thai citizenship documents. Their existence is a legal grey area, but their presence on the team is not. They train together, lose together, win together. They are a team in the truest sense, in that the bonds between them are made from shared experience, not shared paperwork. The oldest is 16, the youngest 11. None of them have any training for what is about to happen. None of them have ever needed it. What they have is each other, and Coach Ek. Tham Luang is not an unknown place to people in Chiang Rai. The cave is a local landmark, long, dramatic, well documented in the first few chambers. Locals know it. Tourists visit it. There are signs near the entrance warning visitors not to enter during the rainy season because the cave floods. June 23, 2018, is in the rainy season. But the rain that day starts gently. The boys finish football practice, and someone suggests the cave. It is a thing they have done before. They will go in, explore the first section, come back. It will take an hour, maybe two. Their bicycles are left at the entrance, their bags. One pair of football cleats, still muddy. They go in at approximately 6 in the evening. They are not prepared for what happens next. Tham Luang Nan. The Great Cave of the Sleeping Lady stretches approximately 10 kilometers beneath the Doi Nan mountain range on the Thai-Myanmar border. Its first chambers are accessible and dramatic. High ceilings, rock formations, the kind of underground landscape that makes people feel the weight of geological time. Deeper in, the cave narrows. Passages become tunnels. The floor descends. In the dry season, a person with a headlamp can walk several kilometers in without significant technical skill. It is not an easy cave, but it is a walkable one. The rainy season changes this entirely. When monsoon rains fall on the mountains above, the water has nowhere to go but down through soil, through fissures, into the cave. The tunnels flood from the bottom up, filling with brown water that moves with surprising speed and force. Tham Luang is known for flooding fast. The warning signs at the entrance exist because this has happened before, to other people who did not take them seriously enough. On June 23rd, the monsoon arrives earlier and harder than anyone expected. The boys and their coach are perhaps 2 or 3 kilometers inside the cave, in a section they know, a section they have visited before, when the water begins to rise. It is gradual at first, then it is not. The passage behind them, the one they walked in through, begins to fill. They try to move toward the exit. The water is faster than they are. They retreat deeper into the cave. This is the decision that saves their lives in the short term and traps them in the long term, going higher, going further in, looking for ground above the floodline. They find it, a muddy ledge in a chamber. The rescue teams will later name Nam Sao, approximately 4 kilometers from the entrance and hundreds of meters above the flooded passages below. They stop there. The water below them continues to rise, then stabilizes. They are alive. They are together. They are in total darkness. The boys' headlamps, those who had them, will run out of battery within the first day. They have no food. They have the clothes on their backs and the mud of the ledge beneath them. And outside, it is raining harder than it has rained in years. June 23, 2018. Evening, outside the cave, the rain falls in curtains. The entrance to Tham Luang, which had been a gap in the hillside an hour ago, is now a rushing stream. The bicycles the boys left at the entrance are half submerged. Their bags are soaked. Their football cleats are still there. There is no one to see any of this, not yet. It is the parents who first know something is wrong. The boys were supposed to be home by dinner. They are not home. Calls go unanswered because the phones are in the bags at the cave entrance. By 9 p.m., parents are driving to Tham Luang. They find the bicycles. They find the bags. They find a cave entrance that is no longer an entrance. It is a throat of fast-moving water. They call the authorities. Thai park rangers arrive first, then local rescue teams. They look at the water and understand immediately that no one is going in tonight. The level is too high. The current is too strong. They set up at the entrance and wait for the water to drop, which, based on the rain still falling outside, is not going to happen soon. Inside, the boys do not know any of this. They know only the cave. In the first hours, after the flooding seals their exit, there is fear and confusion. The particular terror of darkness, combined with the sound of rising water below them. But Coach Ek makes a decision that will define the next 9 days. He tells them to be calm. He leads them in meditation. He teaches them to control their breathing, slow, deliberate, in through the nose, out through the mouth. He does this not as a tactic, but as a practice, the way he learned it in the monastery. Slower breathing means less CO buildup in an enclosed space. Less movement means lower caloric burn from their non-existent food supply. Stillness, in this specific situation, is survival. The boys settle. They wait. Outside, the search begins. June 24th. Thai authorities officially open a search and rescue operation. The cave entrance is still flooded. Divers attempt to enter but cannot penetrate far. Visibility is measured in centimeters. The current is unpredictable, and the passages beyond the first chamber are completely submerged. June 25th and 26th. Thai Navy SEALs arrive and establish a command post at the entrance. They begin laying guidelines into the accessible sections of the cave. They find the boys' footprints preserved in the mud of a higher ledge, evidence that someone made it past the flood. But how far and whether they are still alive, nobody knows. The international rescue community begins mobilizing. Cave diving is an extraordinarily specialized skill. Fewer than 1,000 people in the world are qualified to dive the conditions. Inside Tham Luang, several of the best are in England. One call goes out to John Valanthan and Rick Stanton. They are on a plane within hours. Day 1 through day 9, inside the cave. The ledge at Nern, Nam Sao, is approximately the size of a large living room. It is muddy, cold, and dark. The ceiling is low in places. The sound of water from the flooded passages below, from dripping rock above, is constant. The boys have nothing to eat. For the entirety of their 9 days underground before rescue arrives, they will eat nothing. This is not a choice. There is nothing to eat. What keeps them alive, biologically, is the one resource the cave provides, in abundance: water. Fresh water drips from the limestone above them, clean enough to drink, and they collect it in cupped hands and in small depressions in the rock. Coach Eck organizes them. He assigns roles. He keeps them focused on small tasks, maintaining their space, taking turns sleeping, conserving energy. He continues the meditation sessions, twice daily, sometimes longer. The older boys help the younger ones. The younger ones, remarkably, do not panic. Not because they are not afraid, they are, but because the person responsible for their well-being is himself calm. And calm is contagious in a confined space. This is decision point 1. The sustained daily decision by Coach Eck to prioritize psychological stability over everything else. He understands, without having formal emergency training, that the greatest threat to these boys is not starvation. They can survive weeks without food. It is fear. A group of frightened children in a dark cave, without leadership, will exhaust themselves, burn oxygen, and potentially make decisions that lead them deeper into danger. He does not let that happen. He also manages time, or rather, he manages the absence of time. In total darkness, without watches, without daylight, without any of the normal rhythms that organize human experience, days blur into a single, undifferentiated darkness. This is psychologically dangerous. The mind requires structure to remain stable. Coach Eck creates it artificially. Meditation in the morning, rest at midday, activity in the afternoon, sleep at night, imposed not by light or clock, but by his own voice, his own consistency. He gives the days a shape. The boys hold on to that shape the way a person in open water holds on to anything that floats. He keeps them talking. He keeps them telling stories. He knows from the monastery that silence, if it is the wrong kind of silence, the silence of despair, rather than the silence of stillness, will hollow a person out. So he talks to them. He asks them questions about their lives. He learns things about these boys that he might never have learned on a football pitch. In the dark, pressed together on a mud ledge inside a mountain, the team becomes something closer than it was before. The days pass in near total darkness. The boys lose track of time. They sleep when they are tired, wake when they wake. The temperature in the cave is approximately 15 degrees Celsius, cold enough to cause hypothermia if they are wet, manageable if they stay dry and still. They stay dry and still. Outside, the situation is deteriorating in a different way. The monsoon is not stopping. The water inside the cave is not dropping. Search teams pump water out of the lower passages around the clock, but the rain falling on the mountains above replaces it almost as fast as it is removed. The cave is winning. Then a diesel pump fails, then another. Then the water level rises. Day 4 through day 9, outside and inside the cave simultaneously. The search operation at Tham Luang is by the end of the first week, the largest cave rescue effort in recorded history. More than 1,000 personnel are on site: Thai, military police, medical teams, volunteer rescue workers from across Thailand and beyond. 10 nations have sent specialists. The mountain above the cave is crawling with teams drilling boreholes, trying to find an alternate route down to the chamber where the boys might be. Might be, because after 7 days there is still no confirmation that they are alive. The cave divers, Valanthan Stanton, and a growing team of international specialists push further each day. They lay guideline, they retreat, they return. The conditions inside are among the worst any of them have experienced. Zero visibility in silted water. Unpredictable currents. Passages so narrow that equipment must be removed and pushed through ahead of the diver. Several experienced divers turn back. Not from cowardice, from calculation. The risk at certain points exceeds what any rational person can accept. John Valanthan keeps going. On the outside, the families wait. The Thai government has set up a welfare area near the cave entrance. Tents, food, counselors, parents sit and stare at the mountain. Some pray, some give interviews. Some simply wait in silence, doing the arithmetic of days without food and the oxygen content of an enclosed limestone chamber, and arriving at conclusions they do not speak aloud. Inside, the boys are weakening. Not dramatically, their stillness has slowed the process, but steadily. By day 8, the youngest boys are struggling more visibly. Their lips are dry, their voices are quieter. Coach Eck has told them, help is coming. He says this not because he has any evidence for it, but because the alternative, telling 12 children that no one may be coming, is not something he is willing to do. He believes it, or he makes himself believe it, which in the context of a dark cave is the same thing. On the evening of day 9, Valanthan and Stanton push past a section that had previously defeated them, a flooded T-junction where the current runs hard, and the guideline must be placed in near-zero visibility. It takes longer than anything before it. They emerge into a passage that runs upward. The water recedes from their fins. Their heads break the surface. They are in a chamber. They turn their lights upward. July 2nd, 2018. Approximately 10 p.m., day 9. Valanthan's headlamp sweeps across the chamber. Rock ceiling, mud floor, then movement, shapes huddled together on a ledge above the waterline. Thin, still looking back at him. 13 faces. The moment is documented because Valanthan had a camera. The footage, grainy, the white of the light washing out faces and walls, shows the instant of recognition from both sides. The divers cannot believe what they are seeing. The boys cannot believe what they are seeing. For 9 days, there has been only the cave and each other. Now there are 2 men in diving equipment, emerging from black water, shining a light. Valanthan speaks. His Thai is limited. He holds up fingers. How many? He asks. He is trying to count. The boys begin to understand. Someone answers. 13. 13. Alive. He reaches into his dry bag and pulls out food, energy bars, the kind carried in cave diving kits. He hands them over. The boys take them carefully, methodically, the way people eat when they are very hungry, but have learned to be careful with resources. They do not grab, they share. Stanton surfaces beside Valanthan. They confirm the head count. They take in the conditions. The boys are cold, thin, dehydrated, but alert. Their eyes are clear. They are talking. They are going to need medical evaluation, but they are functional. They are, improbably, okay. The 2 divers cannot bring the boys out that night. The passages behind them, 4 kilometers of flooded tunnel, are too difficult, too dangerous for untrained swimmers. They promise to return. They leave food and supplies. They go back into the water. The journey out with the news takes hours. At the surface, when Valanthan reports 13 alive, 13 located, 13 on a ledge, 4 kilometers in the command post, goes silent for a moment. Then it erupts. But the celebration is short, because now the hardest question has to be answered. How do you get 13 people, including children who cannot dive, out through 4 kilometers of flooded cave? The options are examined and rejected, one by one. Wait for the water to drop. The monsoon shows no sign of stopping, and the boys cannot survive another month. Drill from above. The boreholes drilled in the preceding days have failed to reach the chamber. Teach the boys to dive and lead them out. Experienced cave divers consider this option and reject it as too dangerous. The passages are too difficult, even for trained adults, which leaves one option, the one that no one wants to say aloud. Dr. Richard Harris, an Australian anesthesiologist and veteran cave diver, has been on site for 2 days. He is the one who says it. The boys will need to be sedated enough to remain calm and still during the underwater passage, and guided out by divers who will manage their air supply for them. It is an extraordinary risk. It has never been done before, in any cave rescue, anywhere in the world. It is also, Harris concludes, the only viable path. July 8, 2018. Day 1 of extraction. The operation that extracts 13 people from Tham Luang over 3 days is coordinated with a precision that borders on the military, because in large part it is military. Thai, Navy SEALs, international cave divers, medical personnel, and logistics teams operate in a chain that extends from the chamber 4 kilometers in to the ambulances waiting at the cave entrance. Each boy is prepared by Dr. Harris, who dives in each day to administer sedation. The level is calibrated carefully enough to keep them calm and compliant during the passage, not enough to suppress breathing. The boys are fitted with wetsuits, full-face masks connected to air supply, and buoyancy aids. A diver on each side guides them through the passage, managing their position, their air, their progress. The guideline laid over the preceding 10 days is now a lifeline in the most literal sense. Every turn in the passage, every submerged section, every squeeze has been mapped and remapped. The divers know where the ceiling drops and where it rises. They know the currents. They have done this route dozens of times. The first 4 boys emerge from Tham Luang on July 8th. They are brought out on stretchers, transferred to waiting ambulances, and taken to Chiang Rai Prachanukro Hospital. They are hypothermic, malnourished, dehydrated, and alive. The hospital staff keep their identities confidential for several days, concerned about the psychological impact of sudden media exposure on children who have been underground for nearly 2 weeks. July 9th, 4 more boys. July 10th, the final 4 boys and Coach Ekapol. When the last person clears the cave entrance on July 10th, the crowd that has gathered outside, rescue workers, journalists, volunteers, families, responds with something that is not quite celebration and not quite relief. It is both, and something else as well. The particular emotion that comes from watching something that was not supposed to be possible become possible. The only fatality in the entire operation is Samangunan, a retired Thai Navy SEAL, who lost consciousness during a resupply dive on July 6th, before the extraction began. He was bringing oxygen tanks deeper into the cave when his air ran out. He was 47 years old. His death is the weight that sits beneath everything else, the reminder that the cave did not forgive the rescue operation simply because the outcome was good. All 13 of the wild boars survive. The last diver surfaces. The cave is sealed behind them. In the weeks that followed, the 13 survivors were kept in hospital quarantine, partly for medical reasons, partly to protect them from the intensity of global attention that descended on Chiang Rai the moment the news broke. The story had reached every country on earth. The world had been watching for 18 days, and the world had been afraid. The rescue, when it came, generated a response that cut across languages, cultures, and politics. A shared exhale from a planet that had been holding its breath. The wild boars became famous in a way that none of them had chosen, and most of them were not fully equipped to process. The recovery was careful. Thai medical teams managed their reintroduction to light, to food, to the world above ground, with deliberate slowness. The boys spent several weeks in hospital before returning to their families. Several received long-term psychological support. Coach Ekapol, who had kept them alive with 9 days of stillness and leadership, spent the longest in hospital and was the last to leave. The stateless boys on the team, those without official Thai citizenship, were granted citizenship in the months following the rescue, a recognition of what they had endured and who they were. Saman Gunun's family received the full honors of a Thai military funeral. He is remembered not only in Thailand, but in the international cave diving community as the person who gave his life for the last leg of a supply run, an act of service so ordinary in its intention and so final in its outcome that it captures something essential about what the entire rescue operation required of everyone involved. The cave was closed indefinitely following the rescue. No date has been set for reopening. Lesson 1. Practical. The first hours determine everything. When the water rose in Tham Luang, Coach Ek made an immediate decision. Go higher, not further. Finding the ledge above the floodline was the only reason 13 people had somewhere to survive for 9 days. In any emergency situation involving rising water, elevation is life. The instinct is often to move toward the exit. But the exit, in a flood, may be the most dangerous place to be. Reading the environment first, before committing to a direction, is the decision that creates options. Lesson 2. Psychological.com is a resource. It can be managed. Coach Ekapol had no emergency training. What he had was a practice, meditation, breath control, the capacity for stillness cultivated over a decade in a monastery. He used it not for himself, but as a tool for the group. By keeping the boys calm, he reduced their oxygen consumption, their caloric burn, and their risk of panic-driven decisions. Calm, in that cave, was as real and as finite a resource as water. He managed it the way a careful person manages any critical supply deliberately, consistently, without dramatizing its importance. Lesson 3. Human extraordinary outcomes require ordinary people doing extraordinary things. The Tham Luang rescue involved thousands of people. Most of them are not famous. The pump operators who worked around the clock to lower the water level. The Thai military personnel who carried equipment up muddy hillsides. The volunteers who cooked food for 1,000 rescue workers for 18 days. The international cave divers who flew across the world on a few hours. Notice because someone called and said there were children in a cave. None of these people were in the story by accident. None of them were there because they expected recognition. They were there because the situation required something from them, and they gave it. That accumulation of ordinary effort is what produced an extraordinary outcome. On July 10, 2018, the last person came out of Tham Luang alive. It was not supposed to be possible. The fact that it was possible tells us something worth holding on to. That when the situation is extreme enough, and the number of people willing to work together is large enough, and the individual decisions made in the dark are good enough, outcomes that seemed impossible sometimes aren't. If this story stayed with you, the comments are open. Subscribe and turn on notifications for the next survival reconstruction.